Well, hello everyone. My name is Brent Kromer. I am the owner of C4F, where I personally help come into businesses, scale them to become extremely profitable, extremely efficient, and help to scale without all the turnover and the frustrations that come with scaling. I help fitness pros, I help agency owners, and I want to talk to you guys today about literally the cheapest and easiest thing that you can do to scale your business right now that probably 95% of business owners aren't doing. It's either free entirely or it's so cheap and they're just not doing it because of lack of, in my opinion, lack of effort and lack of wanting to kind of look at themselves in the mirror a little bit. All right, let's dive in. Before we do, go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Obviously, you guys, I hope have seen me at some point. If you haven't, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and check out some of the other videos. I drop free content every single week. It is usable, it is applicable. You can literally plug it in same day and get results. Okay, that's what the entire channel is for. If you like what I do, you just might work with me down the road. You just might not. You might be someone who just wants some free content for a little while. That's fine too. I have no issue with that. Okay, so like, share, subscribe, send to a friend. I would love that. Okay, so let's talk about the easiest thing that you can do to immediately impact how much money you're making in your business, and that is call reviews. Call reviews. Okay, if you are not doing self-call reviews after at least 50 to 80% of your calls, you're not doing enough. You're just not. Okay, and I understand. Okay, sometimes when we listen to ourselves talk, it's kind of cringy. Okay, I personally cannot listen to a voice memo or a video or a podcast that's not at least at 1.5 if not 2x speed, to where I don't get the heebie-jeebies of listening to my own voice, right? And I'm sure you guys are the exact same. I review every sales call, every single one. I don't do 50 to 80%. I do 100% of sales calls that I get on. I always look back at the notes. I always sift through and kind of look at points of maybe a little bit of friction where I'm like, that felt unnatural. That didn't hit just right. I want to go back and see what I did and how I can improve that, where I can adjust the verbiage and how I can make that an easier, more seamless aspect of my sales call next time. Okay, so the reason for self-call reviews is you get an objective assessment. Okay, you can look at habits and tendencies of your sales call that you probably don't recognize or notice in the moment. Okay, you can notice yourself getting maybe a little bit frustrated during objection handling. You can notice maybe a lack of passion, or maybe you didn't hear something they said and you just went on to the next thing. I see that all the time. People are like, I just really fell off. If we're talking fitness, I just really fell off. My mom got cancer. I was taking care of her. And I just wasn't able to focus on myself. And people, I'll see sales calls where people are like, wow, okay. And so like, what does your nutrition look like? And it's like, you don't really acknowledge that at all. Okay. And then you go back and you can kind of see the prospect's face like, oh, wow. Okay, I guess we're just moving on from that, which is, some people want to be heard in some capacity, right? So you get that objective assessment. You can spot your strengths and weaknesses. You might have a really, really solid approach to, let's say, we have this aspect of our sales called cost of inaction. Like, what happens if you don't take this next step? What if you give up? What does that look like for you? Maybe you're really, really strong there, but you're not so strong at transitioning into the presentation, or maybe your presentation is really boring and you see that you lose interest from your prospect, or that they're not really paying attention, or it doesn't feel like it fits them exactly how they think it should. And then you get to think about it, objection. So you can spot your strengths and weaknesses, double down on your strengths, and then address your weaknesses. Another big one, consistency. Okay, consistency is huge. If you have no consistency in your sales process, guess what? You can't get better. You just can't. Okay, so let's go back to fitness. If we're talking about consistency for fitness clients, if you're not consistently following your macros, any changes I make are null and void. They don't matter. They don't mean anything because you haven't been consistent with the current macros that you have. If you're an agency owner and you are following a sales process, or they are doing a different type of sale every single time, they're following a different script, or they're going off script, or they're doing all these different things, you can't correct that because you don't know objectively what works and what doesn't work. So consistency, as with anything, is going to be absolutely critical if you're not following a specific process. Now, obviously, pause. You can veer off script and have natural components to the sales process. You should, but you should still be following an overarching theme, an overarching process. If you are not process driven in your sales process, you will not know what to correct and how to improve. So consistency is going to be key. Communication, so that's with like your tonality, your cadence, your pausing, your tactical empathy, there's so many components to the sales process where maybe you are not utilizing them to the fullest extent. And then of course your verbiage. Maybe the way you asked something or the way you said something was a little bit clunky and it took you like 2 to 3 iterations of it to get your point across to them or to get the question to land. Well, that's a good indication that your verbiage is off. So you should be going back and saying, how can I make that land a little bit better? So write down a couple iterations of it and just make sure that you're taking action, right? That you're actually looking to improve on your process. Okay, so those are self-call reviews. That's the free one. A lot of people, and by a lot of people, I mean almost no one I talk to does self-call reviews because they don't want to hear themselves. They don't want to sound silly to themselves. They don't want to, and they don't even know what they're looking for sometimes. And so a lot of people just don't do it. And I think even if you don't fully know what you're looking for, if you're at least going back and putting yourself in the perspective of the prospect, you'll be able to pick up on things, maybe not from an expert level, but you'll be able to pick up on things from a consumer level that would help you to improve your process. Okay, that's the free version. The paid version is the mentor call reviews. Okay, so I offered today, or I offered yesterday, and got some people that were interested. $100 call reviews. The best thing you can do for your business in regards to sales is call reviews and custom scripting that plays into your strengths and kind of avoids some of your weaknesses. If we're talking football, I know it's football season. I'm a football junkie. If your strength is to throw to the outside of the field, you're going to develop a process. Your offensive coordinator is going to develop a process around that. You're probably not going to throw over the middle of the field where it's dangerous too much. So you play to your strengths and avoid your weaknesses, right? So custom scripting is what allows you to do that. And then of course, call reviews, it's live, it's game film. Like when I do these call reviews, I notice almost instant results from clients who are able to acknowledge things that they never noticed previously, correct them on the very next call, and get a sale. It happens all the time. I could probably do a few more. I was a little booked up this past week with them, but $100 a call review. If you see this, just message me call review. So long as I'm not getting bombarded with these, I will continue to do them because they are very helpful. And again, maybe you'll see something from a new perspective, and maybe you'll consider working together to where we can actually custom script the entire thing. So, but if nothing else, you will become a better salesperson just from a single call review. I'm dead serious about that. Okay. So the expert insights, what I'm able to do when I'm doing these call reviews, I can check out your cadence, your tone, where maybe we should have been a little bit more empathetic. Maybe we should have been a little bit more firm. Maybe we should have stress tested that client a little bit more where, they said they didn't have the time or they didn't have the money. You must stress test. So I can kind of give insights on different areas of the call where you should have been, again, a little less pushy, a little bit more firm. I can basically look at the verbiage and see where things were clunky, custom write better ways to phrase and ask questions to get the desired outcome. Objection handling, obviously that's the one that's sexy and fun and everyone wants to be like the sales master and better at objection handling. I'll give you a little secret. Most objection handling can be avoided with a better process up front. While objection handling is fun, I prefer to avoid it if I can and just get an easy lay down sale. Not everyone feels that way, but I prefer that. And then on occasion, objection handling, getting someone to change their perspective and to take action and to bet on themselves and believe in themselves. That's always fun too. I mean, that's a wonderful aspect of sales. So that is the 2 best ways I think you can improve. The 2 fastest ways that you can improve your sales process is self-call reviews. Start with those. If it's not getting much better, get an expert mentor to kind of look at them and give a different perspective. It may be that your whole process is trash and it needs scrapped. I see that a lot too. Let's just figure it out, okay? So do a self-call review, see how it feels. If it doesn't improve in the next 2 to 3 calls, like if you don't immediately start noticing deals closing easier, deals closing more consistently, more cash collected, longer packages being sold, referrals right off the rip, if you don't notice any of those benefits, you probably need an expert's perspective on this. Hope this helps, guys. Again, cheap, easy, and it can be fun ways to improve your sales process without spending an absolute fortune.